gets his 10th hold of the year, and Whitgren comes in and gets his second save. It's rolling in Cleveland, guys. They've won 4 in a row. Meanwhile, the Twins have lost 3 in a row. And today, Minnesota is off. Excuse me, they're not off. Minnesota is home against the A's, while Cleveland is home again against Detroit. That has become a real interesting race. In the West, Houston, they win, they come back, they just lay the wood to the Angels last night, right? Did you see any of that game? There were some real blowouts. This is not the biggest blowout of all. But for the Astros winning last night 11-2, Springer 1 for 3 with 3 RBIs. Altuve 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Brantley 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Marisnick 3 for 4. White got a hit. Chirinos got a hit. Reddick got a hit. Gurriel got a hit. Every starter with at least 1 hit last night. Houston piles up 12 hits. Alvarez did not play. Fantasy listeners, listen up. It doesn't sound like a major thing. It sounds like a nagging thing. A.J. Hinch said he's going to give him a day off every now and then to rest a sore knee. Now, we know Alvarez is DHing. We know he's not much of a fielder, but we know that bat is potent. And so don't be thinking he's not going to play. I expect him, from what I've read preparing for the show, he'll be back in the lineup today or tonight as Houston plays the Angels again. They're 4.5 games up on the Oakland Athletics. Oakland wins again yesterday. They've won 6 in a row. And here's something interesting about the A's now. If you're into stats, and a couple of you guys I know out there in the chat room are so into stats, but the A's now have a greater run differential than do the Astros. That's right. The A's are plus 98. And the Astros are plus 95. Houston, 4.5 game lead over Oakland. Oakland's won 8 of 10. They've won 6 in a row. They're at the Sliding Twins again today. That's a good little name, huh? The Swinging A's and the Sliding Twins. Meanwhile, Houston entertains the Angels. And when I talked yesterday, I'd really pumped the Angels up. And then last night they lay the golden egg, losing 11-2. Wow. They had just walloped Houston the night before. So I guess everything seems to work out, right? Garrett Cole pitched last night for the Astros. 7 innings, 7 hits allowed, 1 earned, 11 strikeouts. Smith and Presley come on to mop up. For the Angels last night, Simmons got a couple of hits. Ohtani continues to bash it. 2 hits for him last night. Upton 2 hits. No Mike Trout. Expected back today. Read that this morning, so you Trout owners, put him in your lineup today. Fletcher led off, went 0 for 5 last night. Pitching-wise, Pena started 4 2/3, 8 earned runs. Ugly. Really ugly, right? Bard came in the 5th, pitched through the 7th, gave up 3 more. Houston, a big win. And, there's no reason to panic, but these leads in the American League that you felt comfortable with if you were a Yankee, a Twin, or an Astro, they're no longer comfortable leads. And the Yankees have a really tough schedule the next week or two. That East could get even tighter. Looking at the wild card this morning, the Rays still lead the wild card, the first slot, by a half game over Cleveland and Oakland. So there you have 3 teams within a half game of the wild card league. Boston 3 out of the wild card, Texas 5 out, and the Angels are 5.5 out. Going to the National League, Atlanta, losers again yesterday. They lose to the Brewers yesterday afternoon, 5-4. In that game, Christian Yelich, 34th home run. He is just incredible at home, power-wise. Of course, he's incredible, period. But they beat the Braves. The Braves have now lost 2 in a row. But while they were losing, so were the other competitors in the division. So Washington loses to Baltimore 9-2, and the Phillies lose yet again to the Dodgers 7-2. So there's no change amongst the top 3 teams in the National League East this morning. The Mets have won 4 in a row, for those that seem to care. As we go to the Central Division, the Cubs win against Cincinnati 5-2. Looking at that game for the Cubs, Darvish, wow, 2 straight games where he has been utterly impressive. Last night he goes to 3-4. He pitched 6 innings against the Reds, only surrenders 2 hits and no walks, and struck out 7 Redlegs last night. Now, I want chat room discussion on this. Is Darvish going to be a difference maker, or is he a faker? Are these last 2 games indicative of he's turned the corner and the Cubs can expect this ace-type material? These Cubs can expect ace-type material from Darvish going forward? Or is this just an aberration, and before long we're going to get back to the Darvish that we have known to not appreciate so much this year? I watched the game yesterday. Darvish seems to have something. Easy kill. Phil Chappie says he thinks he's turned the corner too. He looked dominant yesterday. Now, in that game, let's talk about his pitch count and all that. He only threw 83 pitches, so the Cubs are not overextending him. 60 of those pitches were strikes. He was closing the deal yesterday against the Reds and putting hitters away and looked confident doing it. And as you know, pitching and confidence go hand in hand if you're doing a good job. The last 2 games, he's looked really good. And if he may be someone in fantasy that is a good trade partner. Kimbrel got his 4th save yesterday, pitched a perfect 9th, struck out 2. He looked like he's turned a corner. The Cubs, I tell you, I've said this a couple days ago. I think the Cubs are still the front runner, and of course they're in first place. Milwaukee and St. Louis may challenge, but the Cubs, I think, are clearly the best balanced team in that division. Now, batting, Chris Bryant continues to heat it up. He went 2 for 3 yesterday. Rizzo went 1 for 3. Hayward doubled, his 10th. Bryant homered, his 20th. Even Addison Russell got in on the home run barrage yesterday. He went 1 for 3. He hit his 6th homer of the year. The Reds, to me, they are one of the most baffling offensive teams in Major League Baseball. They continue to have this positive run differential, but they cannot score runs on any consistent basis. Senzel went 2 for 4 yesterday. Suarez 1 for 4. Puig 1 for 4. Iglesias 1 for 3. Looking in the chat room, a lot of fantasy football talk this morning going on in the chat room. And I've talked to a couple of friends yesterday. Before long, I'm going to shift the time spent on baseball. I want to talk to Lenny about it, primarily baseball still, but I'm going to throw in some minutes each morning of fantasy football. Drafts are coming up soon, so we'll be talking about that in just, a couple of weeks. Probably about a third of the show, or even I thought about with having multiple shows. We may just spend one show on football. I'll talk to Lenny about it and see what his thoughts are. But it's getting to be the season, but we're still hot into baseball. Unholy says the Cubs and Cardinals will be there at the end. The Brewers, I agree. I think the Brewers are just not built for playoffs. They're a great softball type team. Score a lot of runs, but they'll give up a lot of runs. The really only consistent starter they've had, Davies has been good, surprisingly. Woodruff's been good, but it's not been the consistency other than those two. And then you get into the bullpen, and of course there's Hader, who's Superman. But other than that, it's, take your chance, right? Other games, we talked about the Pirates and the Cardinals briefly because I gave some kudos to my boy Tyler O'Neill, who I added. Cardinals win 6-5 yesterday. Goldschmidt homers. Yes, Goldschmidt homers. I said it. I'll say it again. It was his 18th off the year in the 7th inning. He has got to come around. And just about the time you thought Ponce de Leon was going to become an ace in waiting, he lays an egg. I added him because I looked in CBS leagues and ESPN leagues and Yahoo leagues, and everybody's adding Ponce de Leon, so I add him, and he stinks up the joint yesterday. 3 2/3, 8 hits, 4 earned. Only struck out 3, gave up a home run. His ERA went from 1.99 to 2.80 with 1 start. At that rate, after about 3 more starts, he'll be in the 5s. But I will say this, after he was removed in the 4th inning, the Cardinal bullpen was locked down, only giving up 1 run the rest of the game, and that was in the 9th. Miller looks like his old self, and if you're in a league where holds matter, Andrew Miller could be a critical add going forward. Breba gets the win, pitching the 6th and 7th innings, 2 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts. So the Cardinal bullpen was strong yesterday. The Pirates, Newman led off, went 3 for 5. I told you about Reynolds getting 2 hits. Archer, the pitcher, went 2 for 3. Pitched those 6 innings. It was the bullpen that lost the game for them. Liriano was the loser. Pitched the 3rd of the inning in the 7th. Gave up that homer. 2 earned runs. Feliz blew the save. And you know they're going to be trading their closer. So the Pirates are going to be shakers, I think, in the next 13 days. And who they trade Vasquez to is critical. The Dodgers have got... Have you seen Kenley Jansen? I'm getting ready to talk about the Dodgers. They lead the division now by 14 games over Arizona, 16 over San Francisco. Wake up the Giants. They've won 5 in a row, 8 of 10. Swept the Rockies in Colorado, a 4-game set. And yesterday scored 11 more runs. So this offensive juggernaut that was hibernating up until July has woken up in Colorado the last 4 games. But the Dodgers have that division in hand. But I watched Kenley Jansen 2 nights ago, and he is not the Kenley Jansen that we expect. The Dodgers have way too good of a team. The staff is incredible. The hitting off the charts. They're going to make a move. Going to make a move. Yeah, Charlie, the Bengals, I think they suck too. I agree with you. Got any thoughts on the Dodgers and their bullpen? Just curious. I just think they're going to make that move with Pittsburgh. They're going to send over probably a Major League ready player and a prospect. I was talking on a show Tuesday night with Chappie. He thinks they may get 3 players out of the deal. That'll help ease the pain of the Tampa Bay trade last year, right? But he may be, Vasquez, the biggest trade chip in all of baseball right now. And he may have more to do with who wins the World Series, that one player. Who makes the World Series, that one player. Because frankly, right now, if the Cubs are playing the Dodgers and it's close in the later innings, I got to go with the Cubs in the later innings. So, what do you guys think? Do you guys easy kill Charlie? Do you think the Dodgers make that trade? Let me know. Chat room, these trade deadlines, what are you doing with your fantasy teams? Are you hedging on trades or are you not? Wild card wise in the National League, the Braves, Cubs, Dodgers, we're not going to talk about them. The Nationals still lead the first wild card by a game and a half. Milwaukee and the